Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of the LucasFilm edition of the Castles, Capes, and Clones podcast. Today, we'll be talking about Willow casting, THX-1138, and more. We are Castles, Capes, and Clones, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. I'm Loren, and I'm here with my cousin and co-pilot, Rich.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing okay.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing swell, thanks. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got back from downtown Disney, so.
Nice. How was it?
It was good.
Yeah.
I wanted to go there before they closed Buena Vista Street for the Touch of Disney. I was on a hunt for Raya merchandise for my niece. So
right.
Got her a shirt and a sweatshirt. I was trying to convince my sister to get the Raya costume, mostly because I want her to wear the hat.
Yeah, she would look so cute in that. I mean, seriously, she would be so cute.
I have a feeling I'm gonna get it next time. I just be like, get it here, put her in it. I don't care.
Yeah, like, she needs that costume.
Will she wear it? Who knows? Even just for a picture in it, I'd be good.
Right.
So, and I did see the mural there, so it's really nice in person.
Oh yeah,
the Raya mural.
Yeah, I'm dying to see that mural.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Nice. Did you go to Trading Post?
I did not, because I bought a lot already.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to buy more. So
was there a line still for?
Yeah, everything has a line. So it looks like, it looks intimidating because you're like, oh my god, it's a line, but like the World of Disney has a line all the time.
And it moves fast.
That it goes from the entrance that's closer to the French bakery place. The line stretches all the way across the whole building and then over by the tram entrance. But it took me like maybe 5 minutes to get through that.
That's what somebody was doing a video, and they saw the line going from that side, and they asked them how long did it take, and they're like, oh, about 5 minutes.
I remember last time I was there with Tom, our friend Tom. He was like, I need to get a coffee because the Starbucks is right there.
Right.
I'm looking at the line. I'm like, well, we're by the kind of the last part of it. It's by the trams. And he's like, you think it'll take 15 minutes? I'm like, sure. And he goes get coffee, and then I'm like halfway to this entrance, like 2 minutes later, I'm like, I'm almost there.
Oh my god.
So like lines aren't like, even at like Buena Vista Street, there's line because like, so Buena Vista Street, for those who don't know, is the main street of California Adventure, and they're shopping on both sides. I mean, it looks like separate buildings, but it's all one kind of big shopping place. But each side has its own. Like one side's more like apparel and toys and stuff. The other side's like home goods and stuff like that. There's a line to get in because only one entrance and one exit.
Right.
Even then, minutes maybe. So I think what helps is it's intimidating to people, so people don't want to wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. Can definitely tell they're getting ready for the Touch of Disney, which is next week, I think. I don't remember.
Yes, right? Next week, the 18th. The 18th it starts.
Yeah, so next week it starts, then we'll be there at the end of it.
Right.
the last day.
The last day.
Which might be the days before they open again, so.
No, I'm like, why can't they just open it the next day?
I wonder if it is. I wonder when they'll announce it. Hopefully.
I know.
Well, I mean, they would have to actually announce probably. Well, I guess I don't know if they would release memberships yet until a while, just to let people buy tickets to go. That's the only part that's hard. It's like we're so used to just going, but we can't. We have to buy a ticket.
I know.
So
back in the world of the ordinary.
I know, right? Back with the plebes.
Back with the plebes.
Oh, you bought your ticket today? You make it sound so elitist, but like they're the ones who paid a lot of money for that day. We're like,
Yeah, I know. Always grumbling when they have to have their picture taken for the ticket. That's the worst for me. I'm like, why? And it's always a family of like 12 that I'm right behind.
Oh my God. The worst, and this will tie in because we're doing Lucasfilm, but like last year when the Rise of Resistance came out, and you had to like get to the park when it opened.
Yeah.
You had to be inside the gates to do the app. I don't know. Like one time we were like in line, and the line was the whole Esplanade, right? And we were getting closer and closer, but the opening time was getting closer and closer. And we were literally, the family in front of us all had to get their picture taken.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, oh my God. And we literally, I think me and my other friend crossed the gate right at opening. And that's when we end up getting a spot in line.
Right.
But, it was so nerve-wracking to get that close. And then you're like, we're almost there. And then they're like, oh, we got to take everyone's picture. And there's little kids. So you know how little kids are.
Yeah.
So it's like, really?
Yeah, I know.
But luckily, like literally, I think I had my hand out and like crossed the gate and I pressed the button. And we got in. So
that's
it
funny.
ended well. But oh man, that was so...
Yeah.
Like, of course. Of course. Right,
they've got to come up with a better system than that. I mean, it's just too long. You know, it takes too long in the process.
I remember, like, before it wasn't, you got your picture taken there. You had to go to a place and get your picture taken. And you just have the temporary your pass. Well, I guess that was for the passports. That wasn't, or the annual passes, not for normal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder how it works at Walt Disney World, where you have the magic bands, right?
Yeah.
But how do they identify who? Like, let's say, what's to say that I don't give my magic band to somebody else, like to borrow it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like. That would be interesting because the magic bands are supposed to be, you know, why they don't take pictures there,
right?
And I mean, if that's the case, I would rather they do magic bands at Disneyland than, you know,
right.
I mean, they'd have to do certain things, not like Walt Disney World, but at the same time, like just having the concept of the magic band to, you know, get you in the park and get you, like you can spend your money with it and all that jazz. Yeah.
I mean, even now they're getting, like, you don't have to use them anymore. It's now part of the app too because of COVID and stuff. Like I just saw they're like expanding it so that you don't need a magic band. It's on your phone.
Right.
Because I saw like a picture of the scanner thing in someone's phone doing it instead of a magic band. So,
but I don't know if I would want my phone, which is right next to my face, to go into a scanner.
It's not in a scanner. It's just like you wave it in front of the thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to get that close to something where potential germs might be a brewing.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
I mean, though technically I couldn't tell you last time I had that phone next to my face to call somebody.
Yeah. The phone in your face.
I don't think I ever made a phone call with this phone.
Really?
Who am I going to call?
Ghostbusters.
And when I do, it's either like speaker or I have a headset on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we get to the news?
Right.
So we start with the movie and TV news. Ruby Cruz is joining Disney Plus's Willow series. Now, I don't know if you watched this series on Hulu, but on Castle Rock, she plays a young Annie. Yeah. Cock-a-doodle.
I have not. Castle Rock is one of those. I've known of it, and I wanted to see it, but
it's really good. It's really good. Yeah, the second season is. It's interesting because it's Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
But they do they bring in different parts of his books into one thing. So the last season was had Annie as the kind of hero or anti-hero or whatever, and they said that she's not really the Annie in Misery, but she's based on the Annie, but she is the Annie in Misery. If that makes any sense. She's
so
the actresses that they got to play her were exactly like Kathy Bates. I mean, I was watching it and I'm like, oh my God, you sound like Kathy Bates, you know? And then I had to look it up and I said, oh my God, they're totally Annie from Misery. Huh. So it's supposed to be her, but it's not like a continuation or a prequel of her life.
It's like they pluck characters.
Yeah, they pluck characters out.
So it's not necessarily Misery's going to happen, but that character is in this fictional world.
Yes, exactly.
So it's kind of like taking like Peter Venkman and Clark Kent and putting him in a world.
Yes. That's
exactly the whole Superman story might not happen. The Ghostbusters story might not happen, but that character exists with the characteristics. So,
yeah, they have the same characteristics, the same, you know. So,
is she? I don't know, how old is she? I don't know. Like how old is she? Is she like young or is she older?
She's older because she plays the teen version of Annie. Okay. And so, when did that season come out? I was still not living here. I was still living in Paso. So that's got to be at least 3 years ago. So she may be in her 20s right now.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe she's related to Mad Mardigan.
She might be what?
Related to Mad Mardigan. Val Kilmer's character.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I still need to watch Willow. I mean, Willow again.
Is it on? Willow. I think we have time. Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's on Disney Plus now. So I need to check it out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like when this series comes out, I'll do definitely a refresher.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
for sure. All right. Well, Bob Chapek confirmed that Katherine Kennedy will remain the president of Lucasfilm for the foreseeable future. Too bad, haters.
What to say? Like this is one of those questions. So this came from the investors call.
Yeah.
It was like this question along with I can't remember the other question that was part of this, but but yeah, you know, for whatever reason, there's a subsect of the Lucas fans, Star Wars fans, are like, fire Kathleen Kennedy for apparently bringing Mandalorian, because that's the last thing she did.
Yeah.
So I don't know where all this hate comes from, except for the fact that no one, like, they're not happy with Luke Skywalker, and so that's all her fault.
Yeah.
It's just weird, like she's not the creative director. Like, she's not the one telling J.J. Abrams to do this or Rian Johnson do this.
Right.
She's kind of like, what do you guys want to do? Here's the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
that's what she did.
She's more of a producer, executive producer kind of person. Yeah,
and even
she's
then,
not a Kevin Feige.
Yeah, no, she's not Kevin Feige. She's not a creative director. She's the president.
But she is brilliant. She is brilliant. I mean, she's done so much in her life.
Yeah, like there were some posts I like replied with like, yes, this terrible person that brought us E.T., The Goonies, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, Schindler's List.
Yeah,
get rid of her. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah,
and you see it in that light, and then I ended it with, and also The Mandalorian, which is pretty much practically beloved by every. Like, she still did that too, so it's like, I'm sure we all have done stuff where it's not the greatest. Like, we're not the sum of our failures or some of everything. So it's like, I don't think people understand that she's not George Lucas. George Lucas is George Lucas. Like, that's like, Star Wars was his world and his creation. And even now, I mean, like, she's not even like producer. She's above that. So she's this overseer. Like, there's other executive producers on these shows, so people just don't understand that she's not like the end all be all. Like, she's the one who made Rian Johnson do whatever for Luke. I mean, sure, there's some things where maybe, with like directors that came and went and those kind of things, but like, I feel like we're living in such a time of instantaneous news that we're seeing things in real time that we normally don't see. Right? Like, sometimes directors come and go. Like, usually we don't hear about it because we're not as connected as we are now. Back then. So, and Lucasfilm is a totally weird IP that used to be controlled by one guy.
Right.
And they've had to kind of figure it out. While I'm sure there's pressure from Disney to recoup all their money. So, it's not like Marvel. Marvel had already kind of that structure in place. So,
sorry, my nephew and my mom just came in. So,
hi.
If I seem a little distracted.
I noticed.
All right.
Life happens.
Yes. Okay. So, moving on. THX-1138, the movie that launched George Lucas's career, is turning 50 this year. It's amazing.
Yeah. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. I couldn't tell you what it's about.
No.
Anymore.
Well, I
know
saw
I
it a
saw
long time ago, so I don't remember it. I just remember being like, "This is weird. This is not Star Wars."
Like, I think I was still living in San Ramon when that's the last time that I saw that film.
I think in one of my like film study courses, I probably watched it many moons ago. But it's funny though. But this 1138 keeps popping up every time I see 1138. That's all I can think of is George Lucas in this movie. There was like something at work. Someone pointed out like some stat I was looking at was said 1138, and like two of us knew what, like, chuckled when we saw it because we made that connection. That it's the George Lucas movie.
Right. And even remember THX sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cell block 1138. That's where Princess Leia is.
Right.
And then the battle droids kind of has like a 1138 looking design on their backs and stuff like that. So it's like hidden everywhere. So it's an important film in cinema history.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, I mean, like you can see where his beginnings were. Like what I'm curious is, and I haven't seen, is his original student film version of it. That I would like to see, and how that evolved from the like 20-minute short film to the feature length film.
Yeah.
Because the only times I think I've seen any of it was like in like some documentary of the whole thing, but like you only see like a couple seconds of it.
Right.
But, wonder if that is out somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll have to go find it.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, in publishing news, the Mandalorian visual guide and original novel have been canceled. Now, that's a bummer about the visual guide because I love when they put out those visual guides.
Yeah, there's like people are speculating that it's because things are changing in the story. Like the visual guide might, like things might change in the next season or something. So people are saying it's either that or certain aspects might be deleted from it, which I don't think they would do because of controversy, because the character is still important. So it's like, I don't know if it's because of that, which I doubt it. I think it's more like there's, maybe because of the popularity of certain characters that they're making them a little more prominent. And so they might be changing things around until the third season's maybe a little more complete or locked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad that the visual guide is not being done.
I don't think it's like canceled outright where they'll never do one.
Yeah.
I feel like they'll come up with one at some point. I think like I said, I think it's because certain aspects of the show have become popular, or maybe some things are changing from what they originally did. So maybe things are out of date, or maybe, I mean, it could even be as simple as like Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, her future changed because of what happened. So they have to change things here and there. Right. And I think that's something also, because the novel was supposed to be an original story with Din Djarin, but I think also because of the trajectory of that show, maybe that's also changing. Maybe they've decided to go a different direction with things. Because who knows if that was written or like the story developed before they knew Boba Fett would be a big part of it, or Bo-Katan would be a big part of it, or something. Or even, Luke. Who knows? So, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, so Eunice Sutuamo, who is the new Chewbacca, he's been in several movies now, but he took over for Peter Mayhew. He's releasing a book in Finnish called My Life as Wookiee. In it, he talks of a torture scene that was filmed for The Rise of Skywalker, which may have been a little too extreme for Lucasfilm. I wonder where that would have been.
It would have been on Kylo's ship, because you know how they captured Chewbacca, And we did see Chewbacca like in restraints, kind of like in a,
Right.
So he describes it as like, Adam Driver is a very intense actor. You can kind of tell.
Yes.
Right? So he said he was a little bit psychopathic.
Yeah.
That scene. I think it was supposed to highlight his descent into the dark side, like full descent into the dark side.
Yeah.
And I think his thing is like maybe he went a little too far and it'd be harder to believe he would turn to the light side, a couple scenes later.
Right.
And plus, I feel like torturing Chewbacca might just be a little too
Nobody
much.
tortured Chewbacca.
Like, we already, like, dude.
That's like torturing baby Grogu.
Right?
Yeah. Wicket the Ewok.
Yeah, like kicking one of them. Like, I feel like you already took Han from us. Don't torture Chewbacca. He's been through it.
Right.
Like, he lost his like best friend of years. Let's not torture him as well.
Right. Exactly.
Like he didn't get the hug from Princess Leia in the first movie.
Yeah.
He didn't get the medal in A New Hope. Leia just kind of like, even knowing like Han passed, like there's no hug between the two.
He gets no love.
I know, right? But the part of me is like, it was filmed, so I kind of want to see it.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't.
Right.
Because it's
I kind of want to see it like if they have it as a deleted scene.
Yeah, but even then I'm like, do I really want to see it?
Right.
I'm waiting to start crying. Chewie.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
That's true.
But it's funny because like the book, I didn't know about it until this story, and I don't think it's being released in English. So it's literally a Finnish book. Like, he's in his native language. So
wow,
it's not like a global autobiography.
I'm sure those somewhere somebody's going to translate. Yeah.
Right, but it's, as far as we know, it's a strictly Finnish book.
Yeah. So. Well, that's cool.
I like Eunice. He's like going to be like the new ambassador of Star Wars. I feel like how Anthony Daniels is always around. I feel like he's the other one. He's like the new Anthony Daniels.
Right.
So.
I think so too. I mean, he just seems to love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the publishers of Star Wars Insider are releasing a hardback magazine called Star Wars Age of Resistance, which celebrates the sequel movies with exclusive interviews, photos, and more.
I thought this was interesting because, as much like vitriol that the sequels get.
Sorry. I don't know why everybody is. Okay, sorry.
Anyway, I was saying, like, as much as the sequel trilogy gets like so much hate, that they're literally releasing a magazine dedicated to it.
Yeah, and they should. I mean, they should. People need to get over, the fact that this is the sequels, whether you like them or not, are part of Star Wars history. And, I have my issues with the sequels, but at the same time, I very much accept them as canon to Star Wars.
Yeah, because they are.
Yeah. And so, and with that goes all the accoutrement of being, being a Star Wars film, including, getting some accolades about it. So,
yeah, like, there's too much focus, because I just feel like there's too much focus on everyone's own theories of what should have happened. I think that's the problem. I think it's like we're starting to see it with WandaVision.
Right.
everyone had their theories, but it becomes a problem when you think your theories are what should have happened. Like in our podcast about WandaVision, we played around with a lot of theories. Like, it would be cool if this happened. Like, we never sat there and go like, this is what must happen. If they don't do this, they're terrible people. It's like, no.
Yeah.
We might disagree or not like some of the things that happen, but in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? You take the good, you take the bad.
You take both. There you have I couldn't resist.
I was waiting for that because I'm like,
you did have a healthy pause there.
I know, I was waiting. And with any fandom, nothing's perfect.
No.
So and then like, who knows? Maybe in a couple of years, people will turn around to it. Like, I used to be a very big sequel or prequel person, and I've very much changed my mind. And like, they're fine.
Yeah.
But it is. It's not. They don't hold the same reverence that the original trilogy does, but I don't think anything can.
Right.
Because one, you're never going to be a kid again. So your viewpoint of a movie as a kid will never be the same for a movie you see now.
Right.
Very rarely does that happen. I think the last time that happened to me was maybe Jurassic Park. Like, taking me back to being a kid, like really being floored by something I'm seeing on screen, and just like, my God, this is amazing.
Right.
I mean, there's been movies since then that are like awesome looking and whatever, but like, there's something about Star Wars and something about like Jurassic Park that it's almost like they were the beginnings of something, and the prequels were never going to be the beginning of something. The sequel trilogy is never the beginning of something. It's just a continuation.
Right.
So, people just need to curb their expectations, really. Like, stop projecting your own story. If that's the case, then write your own story.
Right. Right. Yeah. Write your own story. Submit it to Lucasfilm. You never know. All right. Well, I am looking forward to this book. This magazine. It says hardback magazine.
That's what I'm not sure what that means, because they said it's also coming out in soft cover. So I'm like, huh. But like, I think their first issue is going to focus a lot on Poe Dameron. So it's partly a lot of like making of behind the scenes things, and then, like I said, exclusive interviews and photos, which I would love to see.
Yeah.
If anything, however I feel about the sequel trilogy, I do think each one looked really good.
I did too.
I think I like them visually a lot more than the prequels.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely like them.
Right.
My biggest issue with Rise of Skywalker was what they did with Rose. That was my biggest issue. Like, I can't get over it. That kind of thing.
I do well.
I mean, there are other things that I have issues with, but the Palpatine thing, that's a big thing. But I don't know. I mean, I don't hate it so much that I don't enjoy the sequel.
Yeah.
Sequels, yeah.
Like, there's aspects of Rise of Skywalker I do not like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's the funner movie out of 3. For the most part. It's kind of like, like, I remember when the original trilogy came out in special edition. So what, like 10, 15 years later after the original trilogy came out?
Yeah.
And like, back in the day when I still looked at the newspaper to read reviews for movies, like on the Sunday paper, I remember like when Star Wars Special Edition came out, it got like 5 out of 4 stars. Empire came out 5 out of 4 stars. Like they were like the holy grail of movies. And then when Return of the Jedi came out, 4 out of 4 stars. I'm like, that's very interesting. Like it's still the original trilogy, it's still Star Wars. You love it, but you don't love it as much.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the thing about with the third movie and most anything. Like it's the one where it's like, all right, cool.
Except for the prequels, it was the other way around. The first movie is the one that is not very good.
Like in my, I don't know, it's weird. Kind of is, kind of is not. It depends on my mood sometimes.
That's
sometimes
funny.
I'm more like, all right, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and then sometimes I'm just like, ugh, the sand scene.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes, at that point, no, not the sand scene. The conversation that Padme and Anakin have in the apartment about love, and you're like, it's so cringeworthy. I can never watch it again. It's like the scene from the first X-Men movie where Storm is like, do you know what happens to a toe when it's struck by lightning?
Right.
And the answer is the same thing that happens to everything else. I cannot watch that scene anymore because I'm like, what?
I know.
Like literally out of all of the Star Wars movies, I cannot watch that scene in the apartment with Padme and Anakin because I'm just like, none of this makes any sense. And if I just skip it,
right,
I just pretend it never happened.
Right.
Like, I'll watch I hate sand, it gets everywhere. That scene, the frolicking in the meadows, fine, whatever. But that conversation, honestly, I can't accept this as a conversation that's going on right now.
Too much.
But I wonder what a hardback magazine is.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious to see what it'll be like. When I guess we'll see it sooner rather than later.
That's one thing I do miss about going to bookstores. Mm-hmm. These are frequent Barnes and Noble a lot before the pandemic.
Yeah,
these peruse the magazine aisle.
Through the magazines. Yeah,
but even now, then I'll be like, do I want to touch these things?
Yeah, yeah. Eventually, we'll get back to where
normalcy.
We're not gonna, and you can feel a Wishbow's bag. Let's see if they have.
There's literally a
clock in the hippo.
When I went to downtown Disney, Loren wanted me to get him some Wishables. And he's like, feel the bag to see if you can. I'm like, first of all, there's a sign that says do not handle, like avoid handling the merchandise, overly handling the merchandise. And 2, I also feel weird when I touch things there. So I'm like, I don't want to touch this. Like, unless I'm for certain gonna buy something.
Right.
Don't touch anything.
That is funny. So funny.
It's weird.
I know. All right. Well, in collector's news, Mattel is releasing a collector's edition plush Grogu with motorized pram for $400. That better float.
So, I mean, it's kind of like. Hold on. It looks like. This, right?
Hold on, I gotta switch over to the camera.
So it's like this.
Yeah,
it's a pram with but Grogu is 1 foot tall, so I'm assuming that's like life size. I don't know how tall Grogu is, and then the pram is, appropriately scaled, and it's on a stand, and it reaches 42 inches in height. Yeah. So we're talking, what is that? Over 3 feet tall.
Yeah, that's about
almost
right.
4 feet tall. And it's like it's not motorized, right? It's not to follow you around, but it's like it looks like it's. I mean, it's on a little stance. It looks like it's floating, but if you press the button, the thing opens and closes. So,
nice.
So it's not as elaborate as that one we mentioned last week. That's on eBay for like $9,000. That actually floats. But I mean, this thing looks good, but it's also $400.
Right.
But it's limited.
When you look at it that way, that's a bargain.
It's also limited, so it's not like whatever. So there's only limited quantity they're making.
Oh, is this like that? What they do with the barge and like?
No, because this is Mattel. This is not Hasbro.
Oh.
So, which is weird, right? Because Mattel kind of does their like vehicle, like like die-cast vehicles and stuff,
right?
Like Matchbox kind of things. So it's Mattel doing this. I don't know why it's limited. I mean, it's $400, so I'd imagine they don't think they're gonna sell a lot of these,
right?
But if I had the means,
yeah,
I would have a little Grogu sitting next to me.
I know, right? I would too.
So it looks good. That's the thing. It looks good.
Right.
Like part of me was thinking, like, I mean, I spent $400 on a Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
I spent $350 on the Razor Crest. Maybe, but then I don't know.
I don't know. I think you can do it.
I don't know. I mean, like, I just still have some other expensive items I want to get. Like, I still want to get a couple lightsabers, and those are like $100-something each.
Right.
So, like I need to. So I've decided to limit the amount of Black Series 6-inch figures I'm getting, and actually go back to collecting the 3 3/4 inch figures. One, because I looking at, so I have the Millennium Falcon sitting next to me, right?
Yeah.
I have the Sandcrawler here. I have Slave 1 coming soon, like the new edition of it, which is bigger. And I had the Razor Crest coming. They're all in the 3 3/4 inch scale. So I'm
there you go.
I can do more display wise with them,
right?
Than I can.
I
can do dioramas.
Party in the Sandcrawler.
Yeah, so I'm like, for the 6-inch ones, the ones I've got now coming, like obviously they're on order, so whatever. So those will be like my last ones where I'm collecting like as much as I can. So now it's going to be more like select figures I'll get in that format.
Yeah.
The rest I'm just going to get in the 3 3/4 line.
Right.
One, because it's a little bit cheaper. But like I said, I can kind of, if you can see behind me, I have like a display scene. But it's hard to do with 6-inch figures because they take up so much space.
Yeah.
So I've decided to switch over to the 3 3/4 line.
Nice.
So,
yay. I mean, I think it works on so many levels for you.
Yeah.
So, the display, the fact that they don't take up as much space.
Yeah,
et cetera, zing, zing, zing.
Yeah.
So, anywho, all right. Well, we've come to the end of our show. Be sure to leave a comment below as to what your favorite story of the day was, and let us know if you didn't agree with us on anything, or if you totally agreed with us. We love to hear your opinions as well. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. Share our posts with your family and friends on your social sites. Also, you can reach us at podcast@castlescapesandclones.com. And we'd love to get your feedback, good or bad. You can reach me personally on Twitter at LoGav and on Instagram at Loren Javier. Where can they reach you, Rich?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at R2Romasanta.
All right. Well, the opinions expressed on today's vlogcast are solely our own and do not represent the Walt Disney Company, its subsidiaries, or assets. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you later. Bye.
Yep. May the force be with you.